Welcome back, folks. Now it's time to get introduced to the data challenges exclusively organized for this event. Let me introduce to you Sampo Savolainen, Managing Director at Spatial. Sampo is, I would say, a technology visionary and a long-term expert in software development. He can turn ideas into solutions and is not afraid of rolling up the sleeves and start working and programming. Sampo can certainly be very analytical when evaluating these challenges. Sampo will tell you more about the challenges, what they are, how they came up, and what are they all about. So, welcome, Sampo. The floor is yours.
So, welcome everyone from me as well. As was mentioned before by some of the presenters, there's been a lot of talk about data use within the scope of Inspire. I've been to many Inspire conferences, and many times I've met people who have been really frustrated that even though there's great data providers and new things happening, what's missing is data users. There's no one using the data, or at least there's no one at the Inspire conferences talking about how they are actually using the data. And that's how the ideas for these challenges came up. So we are fixing this. We are trying to communicate with the people using data, and I think that's one of the main concerns for me. I think the Inspire community needs to reach out more to the users of the data, and that's what we are trying to achieve here. So we started first by finding data partners for challenge partners who had use cases or who drew up use cases, rough ideas on what could be used, what their data could be used, and give sort of a blueprint on where to start and how to proceed. Then we gave a 1-month period for challenge teams to work on these problems, to use data, whether it was Inspire data or something else, because after all, it's all about use cases. It's not really about whether it's Inspire or whether it's something else or whether it's just ad hoc information. But that's where we started from. At the end of that 1 month, 5 teams survived. Many dropped, unfortunately. Some were not able to complete. And we also lost 1 challenge partner, unfortunately. Lost in the sense that no one died, Bart. No one died. There were no teams submitted a submission for that 1 partner. WeTransform will be talking more about this tomorrow. Perfect. I got an okay. So what do we do here is we're going to do lightning presentations where each of the challenge partners will present what the challenge was, and all of the teams that had good submissions come on stage and say a few words about their submissions and try to entice you to come and watch the data challenges tomorrow. So first, I'd like to introduce Manuel Frias from Helcom to tell about Helcom's challenge. Microphone.
Hello, 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 hello. Yes. Hello. Okay, finding the best seaside location. This is Maria. Maria is from Spain, like me. From Andalusia? No? Okay. And recently, she asked me, Manuel, do you know where can I go on holidays? And she said something like, because I want to go somewhere, but by the sea. Hey, by the sea, why? And then she said, because I like doing many sea activities, like, for example, diving. She likes canoeing, sailing, fishing, whatever. Okay? And then, okay, good. Good idea. Sounds very good. And then I said, why don't you come to the Baltic Sea? I have been living here for some years and you haven't visited me yet. So come here to the Baltic Sea. You know what she said? You know? Wait. She said, what? Isn't there ice all year round? Really? Aren't there polar bears, penguins? I said, oh my God, once again. Well, this is true story. My friends in Andalusia they think that I'm living in the North Pole or something like that. Well, then I had to explain that the Baltic Sea is a very beautiful place. There are nice beaches with white sand. There are cliffs with incredible nature around. I said, you can hang around afterwards, after you're diving, you're sailing, you're fishing in these wonderful places, or watch a wonderful sunset here, amazing sunsets like this. Not bad. Then she said, oh, that sounds very good. But I had to be honest, and I had to tell her something. Okay, Maria, there are some problems. This is not the paradise, okay? The paradise doesn't exist. So there are problems in the Baltic Sea. For example, there are things like oil spills in the Baltic Sea. There are accidents. So you don't want to be by an oil spill or on an area with high risk of oil spills. There are also something that you don't know, which is called eutrophication. Disgusting water in the summer. You don't want to be there. There is also radioactivity from the Chernobyl accident. Can you believe that? Very little, but there is. And then she said, oh my God, so what do I do? She was puzzled. Well, so you tell me that this is a nice place and you tell me that there are places that I cannot go, so what do I do? And I said, no problem, because we have the Inspire Helsinki 2019. And that's why these people will solve this problem. These people will tell you where to go. And to do this, these people need data. And that's why I'm here, because I'm working at this organization called HELCOM, Helsinki Commission. Have you heard about HELCOM before? No? Yes? Just yes. Okay. You know what it is? It's an intergovernmental organization for the protection of the Baltic Sea. How many dots do you see there? 10. Why? 10 countries? Almost. Let's see. Let's see what these dots represent. These dots represent this is the Baltic Sea, the 10, where is it? 10 contracting parties. So all countries around the Baltic Sea plus the European Union, they are all contracting parties of the Helsinki Commission. Okay? So they joined forces more than 40 years ago to protect the Baltic Sea, to have a healthier Baltic Sea. Okay, and we have a lot of data. We told these teams, okay, HELCOM has been collecting data for many years, more than 40 years. And as an example, I told them, you can go here. You can Google HELCOM Map and Data Service. And I told them, there is a lot of data here. How much? A lot. I 900. I counted 900. That was 2 years ago. Probably there are more collected during many years. And this is only one place. So HELCOM as an organization has collected a lot of data. So we thought that this could be a good start. So it all boils down to make Maria happy, right? So from here to a happy Maria. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was a great presentation. Thank you, Manuel. The first team we're going to present today is Team Deep Space with Shikun Hu from KTH University in Sweden, or Stockholm. So,
video first.
Video first.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. And then a little maneuver. transition. All right. And we are ready. Good.
So, Shikun, can you say a few words?
Yeah. Okay. I'm Shikun. Thank you very much for having me here. And I also have a colleague in the back row, and he is Pu Zhao. Hi. And as you can see, we developed a web-based recommendation system for the Baltic Sea side. And if using our system, Maria will be very happy to find a place to go. And we involved over 16 variables from Helcom, and it's so useful that we could get all the environmental geospatial datasets from the Helcom, and then finally we got the recommendation maps specifically for fishing, swimming, diving, and boating. So it's pretty cool, and if you want to know more details, just join us tomorrow, and we will be there. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. The next team for the Helcom Challenge is Team Statistics Finland, and we have Matti Kokkonen. And I guess Tuuli as well.
Oh, thank you. My name is Matti Kokkonen, and this is my colleague.
Tuuli Pihlajamaa.
And we want you to find your next holiday spot by the Baltic Sea. As you can see, we have classified the whole Baltic Sea coastline into 5 categories based on key holiday preferences. In our solution, we combine traditional geoprocessing, distance matrices, and unsupervised learning. And this way, we have created a way or a tool to optimize the choice of your next holiday destination. So if you want to hear more, we hope you can join us tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
Excellent. 2 great teams for a great challenge. The next challenge is going to be presented by Roope Tervo from the Finnish Meteorological Institute. This was a joint challenge where actually Spatial was one of the challenge partners, as well as Vaisala and of course FMI. So Roope, take it away.
Good afternoon. Our challenge Commuting 2.0 was set around two main questions. How everyday commuting could be more comfortable, and how this light traffic could be increased in all conditions. And now I mean in all conditions, also when it's raining, but especially during winter times and during when the weather is really bad. This challenge came from an observation that although we have several applications and services to help everyday commuting, we have Google Maps for creating roads for walking and bicycling and so on, and we have many road planners to help with the public transport. But these are actually quite static services. They don't take into account outside conditions like weather or if it's icy on the road or anything like that. And they are also very focused on their one area of specialization. Like they are, for example, if you are road planners for public transportation, they are assuming that you are taking whole trip with public transportation. Or Google Maps assumes that you take either bus or either cycle. But actually, ideal combination is in many cases a combination of these methods. For example, in Helsinki and in many other cities as well, where we have very cheap city bikes available, it's actually very easy to combine these methods during the trip. But we don't have any services or applications to help to plan this optimal road for this commuting trip. We set up some study questions to help teams to create ideas. First of all, we wanted to know how data can be used to assess the comfort level of the road. And with the data, I mean actually all available freely available data. And second, how this comfortable and yet friendly, environmental friendly commuting can be increased. And third, how we can assess safety and conditions of the road during the trip, because during winter times, especially here in Helsinki and other northern cities, there may be ice and snow, but most of the time it's all good. We provided some data as well. Vaisala and Finnish Meteorological Institute provided some weather and environmental data through OGC API features, WFS3. And we suggested that teams could use some basic location data like OpenStreetMaps or what they choose to use. And we also suggested that they could use some public transportation information and routing services. But we didn't want to limit teams to use just these datasets. They are, of course, free to use any datasets available. We wanted to see some online demo or proof of concept software delivered as a web service, preferably. But we also noted that there may be some additional ideas which can't be implemented due to time constraint or some other constraints, and we really wanted to see these ideas in the presentations as well. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Roope. I, for one, remember that I've been somewhere on a bike and noticed that there's a huge storm front coming, and then watching FMI's application, like the radar map, when is it a good time? When is it safe for me to leave? I don't have a raincoat. I'm just on my bike. And it worked. I didn't get wet. So the team that did this or submitted a proposal for this challenge is better wet from sweat. The idea is that it's better to get sweaty while you're biking instead of wet from rain. And to present this is Bas Boers from Province Noord-Holland. There he is. And his colleague Bart as well.
I'll say something before.
Yeah. We can say something very brief. Yeah, we are just lots of fun building this application. We build a solution that keeps you dry when cycling. I don't want to spoil too much of the surprise, so because we have the real presentation tomorrow. Hope we show a movie now, and we'll hope it encourages you to attend the presentation tomorrow. Yes. And we'd like to thank FME for all the data they provided, and we unfortunately didn't use because we applied our solution on the Dutch cycling network where we are from. And we also used the data of our meteorological institute instead. Okay, that's it.
Nicely aligned with the size of rain showers we normally see in the Netherlands.
We're going to create a very simple as possible web client. Then you can see where he is, you can select where he wants to go. Advice, real-time advice. Try to make the input as simple as possible. Just origin points, destination points. And that's it. No fancy stuff. But let's make sure everything works first and then.
Thank you, Inspire.
Excellent, thank you. The next challenge comes from the JRC actually. Let's make the most out of Inspire will be presented by Marco.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, my name is Marco Minghini. I work at the JRC. I'm happy to give the introduction to this data challenge. Let's make the most out of Inspire on behalf of the whole Inspire team at the JRC. That means Michael, Alex, Robert, and Vlado. What is this challenge about? In a nutshell, this challenge targets the improved usability and exploitation of the Inspire infrastructure. These by asking teams to identify and to address specific limitations or issues or inefficiencies in the way that Inspire data are encoded and or exposed through network services by data providers. To give some more context on that, well, we know that there's a steadily growing number of data sets made available by EU member states data providers through the Inspire GeoPortal. Currently, the Inspire GeoPortal provides more than 150,000 metadata records and about 25,000 datasets available for download and reuse. So what's the problem? The problem is that although we all know that there has been a good progress, still, as Michael said in his welcome, we also know that there are still some technical limitations in the way datasets are served or encoded. And sometimes this actually makes it difficult for users to consume the datasets and for developers to build applications on top of the datasets. These are well-known challenges. We are already addressing them through dedicated actions of the Inspire MIG. Many of you know very well these actions because you have participated in that. Let's briefly go through them. So there's an action on alternative encodings for Inspire data, which has focused on developing a GeoJSON encoding for Inspire datasets, especially for some teams. An action on improve the support of software clients, both desktop and web, for Inspire datasets, especially in GML, but also in GeoJSON, and also more general action on improving the accessibility and the usability of datasets through network services. This action is addressing issues such as how datasets are organized in download services or how big data are managed in the Inspire infrastructure. So with this in mind, the approach that we asked teams to adopt for this challenge is the following. They had basically to choose a concrete use case based on the utilization of Inspire datasets. So any use case is fine, but it must be a real use case. For example, producing a pan-European dataset or performing some kind of spatial analysis for some specific datasets in some specific software, or developing a web application, making use of these and these other datasets. So anything but a real use case. At this point, they had to look for relevant datasets in the Inspire GeoPortal and detect, identify, and describe the specific issue or inefficiency that they met when doing that. Examples of issues are the way in which Inspire datasets are served, or the lack of client support in visualizing, styling, or querying or processing specific datasets, maybe in specific encodings, or accessing specific services, again, maybe in even one specific software, or again, issues in loading or managing big data. So starting from this, the solution, which is clearly the core of the work, should be developed in order to address or possibly to solve the issue. This solution can be developed on top of an existing dataset or service, or even developed from scratch, so the totally new solution. Very important for us, and also highly weighted in our evaluation, was the documentation, not just of the solution, but also of the lessons learned by the team when implementing the solution, including suggestions for us, feedback, first of all, on the usability of the Inspire infrastructure, and suggestions on how we can improve it and really make the most out of it. In terms of datasets, again, the starting point for the teams is the Inspire GeoPortal. We encourage teams to use several datasets, ideally from several data themes, ideally from several data sources, and also, whenever possible, to develop cross-border applications. But clearly teams were absolutely free to use datasets from other sources, so to combine Inspire with non-Inspire datasets, any datasets. In terms of technology, in the very same idea of this event, we suggested, but we did not force, the use of new and innovative technology, especially the new OGC API-based standards. So the OGC API family of standards, in particular the OGC API features and sensor things API. We also encourage teams to use open source software, for example, use Geo software projects, but also to develop work on top of the ongoing action on alternative encodings, which means either to reuse or to extend the Inspire UML to GeoJSON encoding rule, or to develop other encoding rules, for example, for GeoPackage. That's it. I'd like to mention that we have a partner for this challenge, that is the European Data Portal, together with Conterra. They have prepared a very special award for the first team. So you will discover it on Thursday. We wish good luck to the teams involved, and yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I find it very encouraging that JRC is performing something which you can see as a test. This is a test of the Inspire capabilities, and it's very interesting to see this happening, and I hope that you will continue on this trip forward. So let me present the first team. Team Minerva Intelligence. Jake McGregor will be presenting. Welcome, Jake. You can find the mic there.
Can you bring up my slide? Thank you, everyone. I'm really excited to present this today. I'm here with my colleague Clinton Smythe, who should be somewhere in the audience. Yeah, this morning I got really excited about presenting this to you because I think we kind of tick off a lot of the boxes in terms of some of the buzzwords that were used this morning. AI, linked data, collaboration. And the purpose of our application was really to show that AI applications, sophisticated AI applications, can work with Inspire data. Yeah, so to do that, we created a landslide application in Veneto, Italy. It shows 3 different landslide susceptibility maps for debris flows, slides in soil, and slides in rock. And for the project, we aligned both input data sets and the output data sets, the susceptibility maps themselves, to Inspire. We did, this is a data challenge, and we did run into some challenges along the way. One of those was a real lack of Inspire data in our chosen study area. The other was that some of the concepts that we were working with weren't present in Inspire standards. But we found that there's a lot of open source tools and proprietary tools and things that are made available by the JRC that allowed us to kind of overcome those challenges and make Inspire work for us. Yeah, so take a look at our application as well as the website. And if you're working in natural risks, please take a look at our susceptibility extension and give us some feedback, because it's kind of a novel thing for us to be creating the schema extension. We're interested in your feedback, as well as take a look at our registry where we created some code list extensions within the project. Thank you.
Then we have a second team, Team Safe Software. For some reason, everyone in this challenge is Canadian. But hey, Inspire is for everyone. So, Dean Hintz from Safe, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I guess it's secretly some kind of Canadian invasion. So yeah, and we didn't have any idea that the other competitor in this one was also from Canada. I didn't realize that till I got here. So I think we do tick a few of the boxes in terms of, okay, yeah, we're from Canada. Well, one of the big motivators for Inspire obviously is for working with environmental data, and as the other team has worked on landslide hazard, we're looking at flood risk. And so in a world of climate change, there's a lot of concerns about climate change impact that kind of concerns people right around the world. Doesn't matter if you're in Canada or in Europe. So we decided to look at climate change impact, and the basic question is, we've got lots of data out there, and sometimes it's frustrating. You watch the news and you see all of these people affected by floods, and they don't seem to have perhaps good information in terms of either the planning or how to mitigate the impacts. And so I admit this slide is a bit busy because we were told we only have one slide, and I'm not really skilled in animation, so you're getting it all at once. But this is a data challenge, not a presentation challenge. So you'll have to actually come to the talk to find out what those different images actually mean. But I can quickly sum up the basic architecture, and essentially the question was, how can we take all of that information about flood hazard and the impacts of those floods and make that publicly accessible? And in terms of what was mentioned in terms of the JRC challenge, a lot of that information, the components of that information are available on the GeoPortal, but it's not directly usable to answer that question, especially from having an accessible public interface that people can query. And so you can see here in the bottom middle, basically, you just go to the form, you drop a location, you set the width of the buffer, and first of all, it will tell you if there's any flood warnings for that area, and you can also look at historical floods. And then you can also select a different impact category. And the idea here is that I only have a few in there because it's like just sort of a demo prototype. Right now you can look at impacts on major roads and different types of infrastructure, but it's extendable. And then when you select an impact type, you actually get a table of some kind of results showing what might be impacted. So one of my challenge to you is this is actually available online publicly. So if you Google FME Server Playground, the Inspire Flood Warning Assistant is about the 5th one down. So my challenge to you is you can see if you can crash it before I demonstrate it tomorrow. But I doubt you will be able to because this is all running on AWS on the cloud. So in theory, it's fully scalable. And in terms of, I'll just wrap up a couple of points. We tried to interact with both conventional Inspire standards. So we used Inspire GML, but we also used, we have some Finnish data in there from the National Land Survey, and that's using WFS3. And we interact with the Environment Agency in the UK, just using a traditional REST API using JSON and GeoJSON. So there's a whole kind of mashup of different types of data. And I guess I'll sum up to say, even though in theory we had, on the calendar we had a month, I effectively had less than a week to do this. So you can show up tomorrow to find out how we managed to do all this in less than a week. So yeah, come tomorrow.
Thank you, Dean. So that's all the teams, the surviving teams. So as mentioned, tomorrow are the presentations. Please come. It should be very interesting. And I hope this doesn't come as a huge surprise to you, Dean, but we do actually evaluate based on the presentation as well, but not the images. It's not about the images. It's about whether you can tell a good story and whether people understand what you're doing and what makes it so good. So tomorrow we will do final evaluations. The local organizers as well as the challenge partners have already looked at the submitted versions of the work, and then we will also look at the presentations tomorrow. We will then, based on that evaluation, will be giving out prizes and awards on Thursday. So looking forward to that. Good luck to everyone, and that's everything I have.